Hello there. In this video, you're going to see a little fragment of a coaching session I had with a developer who is trying to apply for a job abroad. So we're going to be discussing the questions that he faced during his interviews and where he fell short and how to overcome those limitations. I hope you enjoy it. And at the end of the video, you can see the actual solution to the problem we are discussing live.
Um, some of the issues I'm having is based on algorithm questions.
Okay.
How to uh, let me say how to break down constraints and the questions related to it. So I feel like um, I haven't really met much PHP developers, and most people actually say, "Oh, JavaScript and Python is better." So I actually feel at least I can still do it. I should still be able to do it with PHP. Since I want some international experience,
Okay.
um, I've been meeting different algorithm questions and all that. So most times when I try to learn a particular solution, it's very hard to see to come by a PHP solution. You
Oh,
either
okay, okay,
see,
okay. I understand. I
yeah,
understand.
you
Okay,
understand now.
so that's interesting. So do you have a particular algorithm you want to review, or perhaps you have a solution to a particular algorithmic problem that you would like to see translated into PHP or something like that?
Actually, I think I have one question.
Okay.
Because one of my main problems is that when I solve algorithm questions, I don't usually pass the performance test. You know,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't meet the execution time.
I see. I see. Okay, that's interesting. So, do you want to maybe share a particular example and we can go over it? I'm
Yeah, yeah.
wondering. Well, okay, let's go with a question and maybe you can show me your answer and we can discuss how to improve the performance of it.
So you know,
It's a little weird how do they measure the performance of the. I mean, you can take a look at the code and perhaps get an idea of the algorithmic complexity or something like that. But when it comes to actually running the thing, it depends on many factors. You know, like I don't know, the very hardware that you're using will obviously have an impact, and something like I don't know how many other processes are competing for the resources. So it's kind of hard to establish a really hard metric on the performance. Um, but okay, so it has to do with how are they actually measuring it.
I think it's the execution time of.
Okay,
I want to share you a link now.
okay.
So you can see the time limit for it for your solution to run.
For every language, so there is like different.
Yes.
Good, good. That's nice. So, what kind of a problem are you looking at?
Yeah, the question is like they give you two inputs. That's the starting number and the ending number. So as assuming they've given you let's say 24 and 49.
Okay,
So they want you to check between the number 24 and 49. They want you to check the one that has the numbers that have a perfect square root.
okay. I see.
You understand? So between 24 and 20 and 49, we have 25, which have a square root of 5.
Right.
Yeah, we have 36, which have a square root of 6.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me. Um, so this is. I believe it's not so much as a PHP test, rather an algorithm test. So
Yes, algorithm test.
so I'm guessing. I mean, I should really check out the problem, but my first guess would be, you know, the obvious solution to this would be to simply iterate over the numbers in the range and check every one. That would be
Yes.
the obvious choice. and I don't know if that's the one you submitted, but that is probably not going to meet the criteria for performance. That is what they are most certainly trying
Ye- Yes, can I
to
share you my
determine.
solution?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay, this is my solution right here. Let me share my screen.
Okay, so do you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay, great. So this is the function that you were saying. So what are the parameters? What is A and what is B?
Yeah, A is 24
Oh, and B
and
is
B
C.
is
Okay, so
49.
that's
Yeah.
a range. Okay, I see. All right. So I believe you are actually putting together the solution that I was referring to, right? It's a very
Yeah.
like a straight solution. All right. So my take here would be that in order to accelerate this, you need to probably eliminate the non-candidates. Okay. So I don't recall exactly, but there must be something you can say about numbers, um, like there's some mathematical property that can help you eliminate non-candidates. Okay, I'm not sure. This
Okay.
is something to research probably. I was thinking, and now I'm thinking out loud. This is not going to be the actual solution, but it can give you an idea, which would be something like no even number can be a perfect square. Okay, that's not really true for
Okay, yeah.
49 doesn't really hold what I just said, but the idea is if you can find a way to eliminate non-candidates right up, then you can reduce the complexity significantly. Okay,
Okay.
so that would probably be my first take on this. But then again, it's not about the problem with this kind of test is they are not really testing your PHP knowledge. They are testing your either your math knowledge or your algorithmic knowledge. So let me see. Um, I would probably remove the. Why are you going with this str val 96? What why do you need that kind of conversion?
Yeah, that conversion works with the previous line on the fifth line. We
Yeah,
have SQ, the square root. That's what we are getting the square root. Assuming we are getting the square root of 25,
right.
that is 5. You
Yeah,
understand? So if we get a string value of that 5,
yeah.
it is still 5.
I see. Okay, so what
So
you're trying let me interrupt you there for a
o-
while.
okay,
What you're trying to determine is whether SQ is an integer.
yes, if it's an integer, yeah.
Okay, yeah. There, yeah, I mean that's I don't think that's going to make the difference, but you could probably remove. I mean, you could make um, this test much easier. Perhaps let me let me see. I'd have to test this, but I guess you could say something like um, if SQ um, something simple as this, then you don't have to make all these conversions and stuff.
Okay,
You,
yeah, yeah. You just got to my problem now. I actually used this inbuilt function is int,
okay,
but it wasn't working fine. Even it detects if you get the square root of let's say 26, the number is a floating number, but it
okay.
says, but it tells you that it is an integer.
Whoa, that's weird. That's weird. Okay.
Yes, that inbuilt function is not working fine.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can try to come up with a better solution for how to test for the integer for it being an integer, but I don't really think that's going to make the difference. What's probably the bottleneck here is the this calculation, the square root. So what you want to do is somehow eliminate the numbers that you are certain that are not going to be that it doesn't make sense to calculate the square root, and So I guess for that you need to work a little on the definition of the perfect square, and that should give you some idea of numbers that could never be squared. Um, that's one thing. Or maybe you can start the other way around and say, like, you know the um, the number range. Okay, so you know that a can never be less than 25, and also you know that it can never be more than 49, right?
Yes, yes.
So what would happen if you were to take the thing like the other way around? Like, you know that the only numbers that will fit within that range are going to be 5, 6, and 7, right?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Five,
Okay.
6, and 7.
Okay, so then maybe what you could do is, I'm thinking out loud here, but let's say, you know that, okay, so let me say, so I would say something like, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here, but let's try to tackle the problem in the exact opposite way. So I would say 5, 6, and 7. There can be no other number. So and the square roots of and the, s- the squares of those would be simply 25, 36, and 49, right? So those are
Yeah,
the only numbers that you will eventually. So basically, you have the possibility of having 0, 1, 2, or 3. Those are the outputs that this function can return, right? Because what you're
yes.
trying to do is you're trying to come up with the quantity of squares. So I believe it's rather easy, because you have to say something like, if a is over 25, that means the number 5 is going to be out, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then again, let's say if something like, if a is over 36, then again you're losing another square, right?
Yes.
And so then what you need is something like, let's say if a equals 49, because that's, I believe that is the highest number it can get, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if this would be the case, then you will have oh, you'll be returning 1, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's probably not completely. I mean, you can do better, like saying something like this. Okay, so if a is over 36, this is, well, this would be the case.
Yeah.
If a is over, yeah, you probably want to take the if the other way around, and let's say it's
Okay.
like this.
Can I come in here?
Yeah, I mean, you get the idea, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, if it's
What? Okay.
you can this, you don't
Can
need
I,
this, you don't really need these lines. All you have to do is make a couple of ifs, and you will have your answer right there, and that will
yeah.
certainly meet the performance criteria.
Yeah. But actually, I didn't. I think you didn't get my main issue right. They give you a test cases. Like now, let me. They give you test case. You don't know the input. You understand? What I gave you, which is 24 and 49, is just a sample test case.
Oh,
You
okay,
understand? So the my solution actually works perfectly for that.
okay. Oh, okay,
So,
so
but
so
there
you
are other test cases
all right,
that
right.
is leading.
Okay. That definitely changes the scenario.
Yes.
I was working under the assumption that every number was between those ranges. But okay, then again, I would say maybe you want to take this approach to the solution I was saying, and try to generalize it.
So I think you give me an idea.
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you're trying to explain.
you have to like try to think
And
outside of the box. You
you know,
know,
and what actually came to my head is this: with the assumption of just to with my code to optimize it. I think we can go to a stage like this. Let's say 24, which is the starting number, right?
yeah,
So
right.
if we get the square root of 24, it's not going to be a perfect square.
How do you
You
know that?
understand?
How do you know
So
how will you know the
24,
first? How
because
do
it's
you
going to
know?
be a floating number if we get the square root of 24.
Yeah, but what I mean is, how do you know the first number is not going to be a perfect square?
No, that's what I'm trying to like get. If
Oh,
as
oh,
I'm assuming it's not a perfect square. So
right.
let's assume 24 gives me maybe that would be 4 points. It's going to be a floating number.
Well, that's another interesting. That's an interesting thing
So so I get. Can I?
hold on a minute. I have an idea, and
Okay, let
this
me.
is
Can I? Okay, okay.
okay. Sorry, I just got it. Actually, you gave me an idea, which is you would probably know from the start which are the perfect squares that you could find. So what I mean is perfect squares. A square integer is an integer. Okay, whatever. So yeah, you know, the perfect squares are going to be these ones that are here. Square integer is an integer which is a square of an integer. Okay, so it's like this: 149. Um, yeah, you could probably come up with a list of the perfect squares right there. You don't really have to calculate them. You can know them in advance. The only
Yes,
thing,
yes, exactly.
so yeah, the numbers can be potentially very very high because 10 powered by at 9 can be really really big number. But
Yes.
but since you know that that's going to be the highest number, you could build that into the program. It kind of feels like cheating, but you could come up with a list of all the possible um, perfect squares and just test whether which um, how many of them fit in the range that you're given. Okay,
Okay, okay.
it's
What?
easy like that. You want to maybe give a little couple of rounds of thoughts, but that's the main idea.
Okay, okay. Um, uh, based on what you said, what came to my mind is this. On that test case, you have 24 and 49. If I get the square root of 24, it's going to give me 4. 4 points, maybe whatever number. It's not going to
Yeah,
be perfect.
correct.
But if I'll now start a loop starting from 4. If the square of 4 is
Yeah,
within the range of the number that
exactly,
was given to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Excellent, right?
That's what I was.
Yeah,
That's what I was
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
again. Yeah, you want to.
yeah,
That's the key, I believe. Is but you see, this is it's kind of a tricky question because it's again it's about you thinking in terms of math rather than programming.
yeah.
What I mean is if you take the integers, you need to know that. So what I mean is take any whatever the first 100 integers, for instance. I don't really care. It's not relevant, but that you can immediately come up with the perfect squares for the first 100 perfect squares is really easy to calculate.
Yes,
And
yes. Okay, yeah.
you could have this array and simply say, okay, you could go through the array of the perfect squares, okay,
Okay. Yes.
and simply find the place where the range it's like you will have to um, say where's the lower bound, like a, where does it where what position in the perfect square array does it hold, and same for b, and simply count the you can make the difference once you say something like, okay, so a leaves out five perfect squares on the left, and B
Yes.
leaves out whatever 50. So you can once you determine that, it's a simple subtraction, between
Okay.
the rightmost index and the leftmost index, and that there you go. I
Okay.
think that's the solution they're looking for.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's a solution. My main problem is still that I it's very hard to find all these data structure and algorithm courses that are on PHP, and even the
Well,
questions, some courses they really don't implement the solutions practically. They only give you theory. How do you think someone can get over that?
you're looking for data structures in PHP.
Yes.
Okay. So let me give you. Do you know what the SPL is all about?
SPL.
Let me share it.
Sorry.
Let me sh- let me show this to you because this might be what you. So that's the standard PHP library, which is an implementation of all the usual um, data structures like stack, queue, whatever. You should. I mean, you got your linked lists and everything. So I guess if you need any particular data structure, you will probably
Okay.
find it there. So you
Thank you very
can.
much.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I hope I made you a better. Well, probably I didn't make you a better PHP developer, but hopefully I showed you the way to get there somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Thank you
Right.
very much.
Oh, thank you. No problem. My pleasure. I'm particularly not a very big fan of this kind of tests because, in my opinion, they don't really test you in real life scenarios. It's like, how many times have you in real life had to calculate the perfect square of a number, all that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So I
So,
mean, it's fine if they are trying to kind of push your boundaries and make you like this, like think out of the box. That's fine, but the thing is, these kind of tests, they are very easy to grade. It's like they can be automatically graded. I mean, they
yes.
can, but they don't really mean much, in reality. Like, if you fail to come to pass this kind of test, that doesn't really say anything about your how valuable you will be in the workplace.
I needed someone to like give me some insights
Yeah,
on
no,
uh, on all this.
it's been very very nice meeting you. And if you have any other question, whatever, you have my email. You can Slack me or whatever. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I really
Okay.
appreciate.
Good luck.
All right. Good luck.
Bye.
Okay, so here's the solution that we came up with. And so it's a simple function that takes two parameters. This could actually be made into integer and integer, so to improve the safety of the function, if you will. Anyway, so what we are going to do here is try to cut as many numbers as we can at the beginning. So in order for the numbers to be within range, they cannot be any higher than the rightmost number divided by 2, so half the number, because, well, that's the nature of the square. And then what we are going to do is simply take the numbers that begin with the first, the leftmost number, because every lower number is by definition not going to be within the range that we are looking for. And so we're going to be simply iterating over the numbers that do belong in this new range of numbers, and we are going to calculate the square of each of those numbers. And So the funny thing here is that you need to take into account that calculating the square number is a far easier or cheaper operation than calculating the square root. That's where the whole trick lies. So here we can say if the square belongs in the range, which we can actually, we don't have to test for this because that's the very way we are creating the range. So we could simply say this. If it belongs, then we will simply count for it. And if we ever simply, if the square that we are calculating is over the rightmost number, then it doesn't make any sense to, keep going. So we can break, and eventually we will return the output, which will be the counter of the squares, that perfect squares. And we will take the arguments from the command line. So I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you learned something new. If you happen to have any question like this, or you want to, have someone coach you into going to technical interviews, or you want to ask me any programming questions specifically on PHP, feel free to contact me. This is my email. You can also find me on Twitter, or you can contact with me through LinkedIn. Hope to see you soon. Bye.